We're live. Everyone can hear us.
Yeah.
Hello, world.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Guys, stop talking about Project X. We're live now.
Man. Oh man.
All right, we're back
love
in
it.
action. It's 3 o'clock, 1900 UTC.
Let's do this.
We're calling this one to order our 6th meeting ever. Instead of Twitch
Perfect.
this time, I'm broadcasting live to X. And so is VB from Star Atlas TV.
That's awesome.
You're the only one in camera. I'm not. I haven't done my mustache today, so.
Oh
And
yeah,
I have a
I'll shut it down so you're not just looking at my crazy face instead of the presentation.
bit of a lumberjack beard going.
Yeah. Instead, you get to see my PFP, which of course looks nothing like me.
So for the org chart, I reviewed last week's mini minutes, and I took a stab at the mission statement here to steward the PIP process and enable DAO participation. What do y'all think of that?
For some reason, I'm having a hard time seeing the stream. Is that true of anyone else, or is it just me?
It's not working.
Close the stream and then reopen it.
Gotcha. I tried that. Let me log out of the call real quick.
Oh, wait. How about now?
It just shows up like it's loading.
Yeah, mine
I'll
is
pop
the
in and
same.
out real quick, see if that changes it.
Yeah, VB's been having trouble for the last hour.
Oh, it's one of those days then.
All right, can you see
Of
my screen?
course.
No.
Actually, I can't see your screen. Maybe
Hmm.
try lowering the frame rate or the resolution or something.
Or we can open the window on the stream on your other account, like I did on the plane.
I
How about
see
now?
it now, brother.
There we
Yeah,
go.
I see it
Excellent.
perfectly. So
Oh, I see it now.
whatever changed, it's perfect.
Sounds good. All right. So this is what I took a stab at after reading the minutes from last week. Yo, 2 or 3 of you said the word steward, so I knew I wanted to put that one in there. But steward the PIP process and enable DAO participation. What do you all think of that?
I like it.
Sounds good to
Works
me.
for now.
Okay, cool. All
That's
right.
the most concise thing.
Stakeholder diagram has not changed from what I can see. Treasury.
I updated that.
Okay,
That's
so
all current. As
five
of today.
5,000 at the Atlas Marketplace, 300 at a rental fees, better than $5 from last time I remember.
So we
Yeah, it's
we have
actually an
done
improvement.
okay.
Last time we were around like 54K. Now it's looking we're around like
60.
61.
Yeah.
Right on. Very good. Okay, and voting ended for PIP 16, writing systems at 75% yes. Congratulations.
Yes. The other one should. I don't know why it's not showing. It's showing on my screen.
I'm not seeing it.
Let me.
Which one?
PIP 15.
Oh.
The screenshot. But either way, PIP 15 didn't pass.
Yeah.
In-person community meetup platform. And the vote for that was 60% no, roughly 40% yes.
Okay.
So it wasn't a landslide one way or another, but the no's won this one.
Okay. And if we go to our PIP process over here, and if rejected, you're going to need to go back and repropose the idea in PIP ideas.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Okay.
correct.
If you
Was there a
want to.
cool-off period? Can they just do that right away?
I think they
He's
could just
gonna
go
have-
back in there right away, but they're going back in knowing that something genuinely has to change, because if it went up to vote again the way it was, it would just get knocked down again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and they'll have to get 25 more thumbs up to do the whole thing and all of it.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually decent process with the thumbs up.
Yeah, I
I-
think it's probably working. Feels like it's working.
Yeah, Brian said it, when we were talking about in the past that, like it really is like as limited and it's not perfect or ideal, but like for what it is, it's a really great bullshit filter. Meaning, like, it does catch a lot of stuff that the community wouldn't push all the way through to a vote, while still not being so restrictive that like nobody gets passed. Because clearly things are passing it every now and then that still don't get voted to a yes.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. All right. The next one was the PIP accounting spreadsheet.
Yeah, we went over that last week.
We did. Okay. Any new updates?
No, that was the update that we had one.
Oh. Okay. All right.
The
Are we gonna?
update is there's a sheet.
Is the intent to show this update every week?
No, it was just it's actually marked as a skip slide.
Okay.
Because we had already gone through it.
Alrighty. For the quad.
I don't know where we need to put it, but there was some feedback on that slide that people were asking if it's going to be made public, and there was discussion in the chat that yes, it's our intention to make it public. We just need to make sure there's not any like proprietary or personal information or anything on there. So that is something we need to continue to work on, is making it publicly available and just guaranteeing that there's nothing on there. And if there isn't even right now, then we may as well make it public. But
That's proprietary?
I don't know, like if there's anything like an address or an email address, or, part of this was for our back end record keeping. And I was just trying to make sure we were completely above, being as forthright as we can be without divulging any information about people. So we do need to put that on the agenda somewhere at some time to guarantee it's publicly ready for consumption.
Yeah,
Not
and it was
necessarily
made with
today.
that intention. It was made with intention to be public, if that's what we all agreed on.
Yeah. As long as it doesn't contain any privately identifiable information, like you said, emails, stuff like that, then that should be fine.
Right.
Yeah, and it doesn't.
Yeah. Cool. Council quad. So it looks like since we talked, or since you all had last week's, PIP 16, 15, voting ended. PIP 17 was approved by the foundation. However, a flaw on the budget allocation will delay the vote. Oh, I get what you're saying. Okay.
That's one of our action items.
Okay.
We essentially just have a little bit of wording that needs to be altered, and then it should be good to vote.
Yeah, we just need to make sure it fits under the 5% of the ecosystem fund, and we can move forward. And that's the way it was intended, but it was not clear in the summary. So the summary is actually asking for double that, and we're gonna change that so it doesn't violate anything, doesn't cause any confusion, and people understand that there's going to be a second part of the PIP that it will go to vote again, for a similar amount to finish the feature, the film feature.
Okay.
Yeah. Essentially, just clarity that once this PIP is approved, it doesn't result in 20 million Atlas or whatever being paid out. That the actual value of this initial vote proposal, what we're talking about, is it's 10 million, which is the 5% limit. It's mainly mainly for clarity and to avoid confusion and drama.
Hold on, we'll talk about that when we get down there, so we can actually take proper notes.
Perfect.
When we get to that slide.
Okay.
I don't know that there's any other accomplishments notable. I mean, we've been working on stuff, but
Gotcha. And this standard operating procedure, is that part of what was on the agenda? Is that ready?
Yep. Well, it's I don't know. It's on the agenda for later in the meeting.
Yeah, that's regarding the payment process and the system that we are creating to keep that safe and open.
Okay. And
open to.
For our third event milestone, didn't we establish that disbursement protocol for PIP 12?
I wouldn't necessarily say we did a protocol,
PIP
but
12 doesn't have any budget on it, if I'm not mistaken.
PIP 12 was the Iris
PIP 12
Bounty Feast.
We're still waiting on the team.
Okay. Still waiting on them to establish how they want us to pay.
We established it. We just need their blessing.
No, PIP 12 is the Iris, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Iris Bounty.
Yeah, I'll put.
Yeah,
Let's see.
Yeah.
Well, we're just waiting on feedback
established
from
it.
Dan from our forum and see if that's enough or if we need to take any more feedback. Basically, Dan and Santi's feedback we need.
Okay, got it.
Actually, it's not feedback from the foundation. It's feedback from Automata.
Yeah.
All right. And we're no longer talking action items? Is that why it skipped?
I don't know. No, I skipped it that last meeting because I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh.
With this slide, this is your.
It's okay.
expertise.
Normally what I do is I just click the link and then
Yeah.
I just go for whatever's are open. We have, first one is coordinate working groups for PIP reviews. Bodhi, is that still ongoing?
That's been deprioritized so far.
Did we I think Drum, did you edit that, or where did we leave off with that?
We haven't come back to that.
Oh,
Because
so it's basically been the same stage for a while now then.
okay, so I'll say pause until more bandwidth.
I created what do you call those stickers that we play? A sticker that said delayed, and it's just on hold while we catch up with everything else, and then I think next week we should have time to get back on that.
Okay. All right, I'll just put that then. It's on pause until more bandwidth can be devoted.
Yeah.
All right. Determine strategy of tool creations for SAC2 dashboard. Emperor.
Still working on it.
Okay. Is that on pause or are you still working it?
Still working on it. Some people might call me grandma or grandpa. I mean,
okay.
That was a joke from last week when I was asking about technical stuff and Drum made fun of me for being grandpa, not knowing things.
Yeah.
It was fun.
And the last one, Carlos, is obtain DAO council domain and email.
Yeah, and we touched on that with Dan, but he was going to go and find out what was the status of that. Remember that he said that he was finally able to tell us the domain that we are not to divulge yet, but yeah, hopefully he will have news for us soon, and just basically make sure that we're going to get a section of that we can make our own, and that way do the dashboard and do any other communication we want through webpage.
Met with Automata, awaiting feedback from Dan on way forward.
And I think we got to add the PIP disbursements channel and maybe SOPs to this. Are we adding that in the right section here?
No, we could add it to accomplishments.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, it's not completed yet fully. So it's I definitely, I mean, it's definitely like got the structure done, but it's particularly the landing page I wanted to discuss with you guys. The SOPs, I can keep chipping away at it even by myself if needed, but that landing page, I want to make sure that, because that's what authors are going to see. So whereas the SOPs is like our internal way that we're going to handle it.
Complete PIP disbursement process. Is that a good name for it?
Yeah, good enough. Yeah.
Okay. And when do you think that it'll be done? Oh wait. I'm sorry. Wrong question. When did we start this?
Oh, well, we just got the channel 2 days ago.
Oh,
so
2 weeks ago.
No, we got the channel like 2 days ago. So
yeah, we started the conversation. Yeah, we started the conversation a while, but Santi was able to create the channel for us 2 days ago, and since then we've been doing tests and channels and threads and messages, and Bodhi and I have been testing. And I think we got a good idea now what needs to happen and how to manage it.
What's the next step?
Well, basically, as far as the PIP disbursement, we need to look at that channel. That authors, when they get their PIP approved, they get sent to this. They get a role which gives them access to a channel. And all I really need from, as far as like our communication, is I need to get more eyes on it and make sure that we all like, what that landing page looks like for
Oh,
the authors.
okay. So we're waiting completion of testing and feedback from SAC 2.
Yeah.
That works.
Got it.
Pretty much.
Got it. Okay. Easy enough.
Testing's pretty much done. I would like to go through one test run from the top down. Like, we already brought in an alt account, but I'd like to just do it basically from beginning to end, at least, just to make sure before we bring in the first people. But
Okay.
it seems like it's going to work exactly the way we need it to.
So Lancer, just to give you a little bit of context, what we're trying to create is a place where when you get your PIP approved and you need to start coordinating for the disbursement and the KYC and all that, you can go to a place where it's not private messages and it's not stuff where someone else can impersonate someone. And it's better just to give them a role, give them access to a channel where they will have some information basic about where they need to send the KYC and what they need to send. And after that, there will be a thread open with them, a private thread, so no author can see other conversations of other authors. And that's the tricky part, that we can all interact with the authors and they cannot see the information among each other, and only the people allowed can have access to that. And even Automata can keep an eye and see the conversations, and everything is more transparent between us and with the team. And it's safe and secure because nobody can impersonate you once you have the role.
Yeah, I remember reading Bodhi's original plan. So it sounds like it's working, and you just got to test it and make sure we all like it.
Yeah.
Well, and now that we have that page, I was able to structure the standard operating procedures as far as like how we interact with the authors on our end, based around that channel and those threads and stuff like that.
Cool.
So
Okay.
yeah, that's pretty much well on the way. But I definitely want us to look at that landing page to make sure it's got the exact information we want the authors to see, as far as like what, because we just want them to be able to kind of show up to this page and get every bit of information that they're going to need, so that when we go start talking to them, they already have 90% of the questions that they would have answered right off the bat.
Yeah. Okay, so that's when I click PIP disbursements and I see that original message from you.
Yeah, that landing page is just going to be a single message, and nobody can type into it.
Yeah.
And then there'll be private threads within that page, which is
Okay.
Yeah,
makes
it's
sense.
pretty seamless.
Makes sense. Nice job, Bodhi. You too, Carlos.
That was fun.
All right. Okay, so we're good on action items. Meeting minutes. So we did quad accomplishments, we did action items, and drum signal. First things up is PIP 17.
All right.
I didn't know. I put that on the list. I don't know who's taking it.
So PIP 17 is the PIP of the media expansion. And the way it's worded right now, even though the intention was different and the way that the implementation shows the process is slightly different, is that on the summary that the PIP is requesting 20 million Atlas. So because we had a different idea of how this was working and it was two separate votes, we didn't catch
real quick,
this
Drum.
right at the time. Uh-huh.
Drum, I'm gonna pause you real quick. Lancer, can you pull up the PIP on the website for the stream?
Yeah.
So we can all at least see it.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
Keep
you.
going,
Sorry.
Carlos.
Carry on,
Okay.
Drum.
So when we actually went to vote, someone rose the flag that, hey, does this fit into the ecosystem fund? And when you go and read the summary, the PIP is asking for 20 million Atlas, which is twice what the original 5% was.
It's the first pip on the. It's the top pip, not the second one.
So we went ahead, and before this went into voting, we put a break on it. We put it on hold, and we reached out to the author, and we had a little meeting among ourselves to see how we want to handle this and make sure that the author is happy with the way that it's being handled, which is very similar to the original plan that Signal can explain better how it was structured. But that's basically the situation. I think we need to make some changes in the summary and just make clear that it's basically a PIP that has two different parts. Each part will have a voting for approval, and that way it's gonna get away with splitting, having the ecosystem fund in two different time for two different kind of milestones. But go ahead, Signal. You can explain.
Can you scroll down a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
The big. Hold on. Where's it at in here?
The point of contention was the summary versus the specification. So
there.
So introducing this proposal, it makes clear that the whole life cycle of the thing is intended to cost about 20 million Atlas. But when you go into specifications, it points out that the very first vote that only generates 10 million of that. Then a whole other vote with presentation of everything that's been done so far, etc., will happen at the 60-day mark for 5 million. Then a whole other vote at 120 days will happen for the next 5 million. That to be able to get beyond that first 5% of the ecosystem fund, all of those would require community votes and like proposals of their own right submitted to show everything that was done so far to extend funding. But when you look at the summary, of the proposal, it is pointing out like the grand total of this is meant to be 20 million Atlas. If you don't want to support something that costs 20 million Atlas, you should vote no on the very first vote because 10 million is not what's going to get it done. There will be other votes that pop up for funding extensions at 5 and at 60 days and then at 5 again at 120 days. So the intention of the language was for the proposal to be very clear and upfront about what this whole thing will eventually cost as a cycle, but it introduces confusion because someone's going to see that 20 million number and go, oh, well, it's looking for 20, that's more than 5% of the ecosystem fund, and not realize that the first vote, if you were to vote yes on this, all RASP would get is 10, which would be the ecosystem 5% cap limit. And then separate votes and proposals would have to happen at the 60-day mark and 120-day mark to continue funding to reach that 20 million limit. So it's an interesting example of like a multifaceted PIP, and it creates an interesting discussion for how we would want to structure stuff like this in the future. Like it's going to have recurring payments, multiple votes could be tied to it. It's more complex than giving somebody one thing one time. And what would be the best ways to structure stuff like this?
Yeah, it's known in where I am. It's called the split requirement dilemma. You've got one big requirement, but in order to achieve business goals, you split it up into smaller chunks, or you have to consolidate into the big one, into a big large one. And first of all, did I jack something up when I did Markdown?
No, not at all. I think you did it perfectly.
Okay, cool. All right, so then, yeah, that's definitely probably a philosophical thing we should probably talk through, because that's a well-known thing in the contracting world, where you write contracts and stuff. It's the split requirement dilemma.
And I think you could see it in multiple like one, is it better if you know in advance you're going to need more than what this initial sum is, should you lay it out in one much larger, comprehensive, complex proposal that shows that there'll be other future votes and all these other things? Do you create one simpler proposal for the 5% limit and just let them know that other ones will come in the future? Like, how would you structure it? I think is like an interesting and a useful discussion.
Yeah. Oh, I see where it's occurring, where it says extension vote. Okay, I got you now.
I think
so you see the total request, but then you see the breakout in the specifications and disbursement plans. Someone who's just reading like essentially what's on the tin is going to see 20 million, and they might think it doesn't jive
I
with the
gotcha.
5%.
That's a good note. Who was that? Brian caught that one?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Brian or if it was Drum, but both of them caught it around the same period of time. So the edit that we're proposing is just to make clear, like for total request, that it says 10 million, and in summary it says 10 million. And then you can look at the disbursement. You can see there will be other votes that extend beyond that 10 million, but at least no one will get confused on the 5% cap.
Because this
Yeah,
is
I
an
think
ecosystem, Pip.
I personally like, you gave the two examples of, it's better to lay it all out in one versus, kind of write the PIP like, okay, this is what the first one is, and then there'll be future payments. I kind of like the latter. I definitely think that, in the case you're describing where it's like, okay, we really want to get it to this point, which will require multiple votes. In that case, I would like to see the author specify, what they're shooting for in the end. But I think the main the bulk of the PIP should be about the initial like what this particular vote is for, and then add in, some additional details that go into like what future pips and expansions would look like.
Right. Like that's kind
Gotcha.
of what Theo did. Like when I first heard the
Right.
Theo proposal, I'm like, this is interesting. I'm not it seems kind of limited in what it's proposing. And then I found out that originally the idea behind the Theo pip cost like $60,000 or something like that. And because one, it was bigger than the 5% cap and it just seemed like too much at once, they broke it down into one single individual pip that would effectively be like stage one of what they wanted to do. The only downside that I see of it is if you looked, for example, at Theo's pip when they broke it down that way. Now, if you vote for that first pip, which we all did, you don't actually see the rest of the runway ahead. You don't see that it's intended that they will come back, and ask for more funding to continue doing layers and levels of it in the future. Um, so part of me likes seeing the whole roadmap in front of it. Like I know what I'm signing up for. And if I approve this 10 million, I know it's not over here. Like I shouldn't approve it if I'm not willing to approve 5 and 5 later, provided that everything else is being done the way that it should. I to some degree I like all that information in front of me, but I could also understand the advantages of the simplicity.
The only
I think you can do
reason,
both, right? You can have the pip really really focus on what this initial pip is for, and the initial, say, 10,000 or 5% is for, and then, as I don't want to call it an afterthought, but as like closer to, I would just say, the bottom of the pip, like kind of towards the end of the pip, you could write out all of those additional details of like, hey, this is where we want to take it in the end, but this is what we're doing right now with this pip.
Right.
I think you can do both. I think the issue is that specifically came from the future, like, the 20 million atlas being at the top rather than at the bottom. I think it's literally as simple
That's
as
it.
that.
Yeah. I agree. And that's the
So
conclusion we came to in the voice chat, that really ultimately the only edit it needs is to call it, like 10 million in like the summary, etc. So it's just clear. So you get both. You get, on one hand, it's very clear that if you approve this, it results in 10 million Atlas being funded to something. And then when you go into specifications and stuff like that, you can then see that total number and how it would be arrived at. Like if those other things are approved.
So the way I always envisioned that this would work when it got to these levels of complexity, when you need to do several steps, and when the ecosystem fund limits are not enough to complete one of these linear projects, which is completely within the rules as well, because the rules only say that not more than 5% at a time for the same PIP and same person. So the way I envision this should work is that there should be a PIP 17 that is an umbrella PIP and defines 3 different steps. And then there should be 3 small PIPs, 17A, 17B, and 17C. And 17A is what should go into voting now. And 17A should be very explicit. This is 10 million Atlas. It's going to be for these delivers, these delivers, these delivers, and these delivers. And this is the first part of a 3-step process. And that would solve everything, because then people are know exactly what they're voting, and they also know exactly what the whole idea is. And normally, if you vote for the first one, you should vote for the second and the third one, as long as they are delivering the results that you are expecting to see.
Right. And it's only complicated, like, this also gets into DAO casters too, which is another it's another complex PIP. And how it's proposed that like it'll go, if you ran DAO casters for like an entire year, the way it's set up, it would cost like 24 grand, to operate. And you can't actually introduce anything asking for 24 grand, right now. So it has to have all these like voting mechanisms and things like that baked into it to show like that really, if you approve this, it's only this much, and then other votes would have to happen to extend it, and continue funding it. But then the question becomes, right, do you make whole new pips? Like, is there a pip that gets created and has to get like approved as an idea, go through markdown review and all that stuff? That the pip is literally just nothing more than saying extend funding, and for DAO casters. It creates an interesting argument for when things get more complex.
Where do we
Yeah.
go to calculate the 5% cap for PIP 4?
A very good question. I actually, now granted, this isn't made clear exactly in writing. It may need like a correction or something like that, but I talked with Michael this morning because I was asking about this exact thing as we were discussing about it in council chambers. And he said the intention wasn't for the cap to get lower as money in the ecosystem fund got spent. Like, the intention was there was 200 million Atlas that was put into the ecosystem fund. No PIP was supposed to be more than 5% of that initial 200 million. So the cap was supposed to be 10 million Atlas. And it shouldn't matter if we spent some Atlas in the ecosystem. The cap is still 10 million. But the current language just says 5%. So
So it's
because we approved
5%.
since we approved several things and paid several people, now like someone modern day, their 5% is lower than the person who applied for something right before them, which was unintended.
So that 100 million is the initial cap of Atlas market cap.
Um, I'm talking about proposal caps. 200 million went into the ecosystem fund. And then it was supposed to be that you couldn't request more than 10 million for an individual proposal.
Yeah, and I'm reading the PIP right now, and it's very clear: no more than 5% of the initial budget for the Star Ecosystem Fund. So it's from the initial budget, not the remainings of the
not
vote.
the moving not the moving value of the fund.
It's one of the things that is very clear on this PIP.
And it was 200 million Atlas.
So it's meant to be 10 million Atlas is meant to be the cap of the funding you can ask for at any one time.
Okay, where did I go? Where can I go to see that the initial budget was 200 million?
You would have to go
I'm
to
not
the
sure if you can. When I read the language, it said that 20% of all the Atlas got moved into the ecosystem fund. I don't think it actually gave a figure, but it was 200 million Atlas.
And that was calculated as 20% of the total Atlas supply.
Yes. Of the DAO treasury.
Yeah. Wow, that's a little confusing.
Yeah. And and one of the things Michael was saying is the original intention was that would keep topping itself off over time to avoid confusion. And but once you start talking 5%, it gets tricky. If like the treasury used to have 200 million Atlas in it, 5% of that, then it's 150 million. Like, people could get confused and think they have to recalculate the 5% when they don't.
Got it. Got it. So it's 10 million Atlas for ecosystem
Yes,
fund.
absolutely.
Okay.
And the fact that this one on the tin pointed out that in total it's seeking 20 million, even if the initial vote would only clear 10, and we want to get that cleaned up as just a point of confusion.
Okay.
Also, keep in mind there's a couple confusing facts we've been given. First, we were told that this was a one-time funding. Then we were told that this is supposed to be a quarterly funding. On the PIP itself, you have both sentences.
Right.
And, last word from Michael was that this is supposed to be replenished. But the fact is that it hasn't been replenished. And it's been more than a couple quarters since. So, yeah, there is that.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
So we just need more feedback from Dan or Wagner regarding when are we going to replenish, or if we should create a PIP to replenish just to follow on the mandate of PIP 4 to facilitate the voting. Maybe that's that could be one of our task as a council, is just to make sure we process all that stuff, then they approve it, and then we go to voting.
I think that's a great segue into my business cases that I've been preparing.
All right.
Well, I just wanted to say one more thing real quick. I think it would be important to, at some point, pin down exactly the way that we want these to be formatted, these pips like this, and update our knowledge base accordingly.
Yeah.
100%.
I err on the side of, because the DAO doesn't, it has the choice to say yes or no to each funded SIP. I don't really feel the need to require the full amount over multiple SIPs in the first PIP, because they can just say no on PIP number 2 if they wanted to. Like for Raspy's vote, what happens if that 5 million vote for the third one gets a no? Nothing, right? He wouldn't get funded.
Yeah, but
Right.
he's gonna finish it nonetheless. But in his case, it wouldn't be a huge problem, because the way he structured it and how he's planning to keep the money within the community in the original token and all that. But I can see other, places where I think it's important when you split, because you want to take more than what you can take in one time in the ecosystem fund, that you understand that there's also a risk. But at the same time, you are giving the option of building a reputation. If you are voted yes and you deliver what you promise, you are building a reputation that is going to help you in the future to have more succeeding votes.
Sure.
And I think that's important, that people that need to understand that that's not for granted. That's something that you want to build up. So if you want to do something more than $10,000 at this moment of the market, you are going to have to make sure that you do a good job, because you need a couple votings then.
Yeah. I only see it as making it more difficult for people who want to do larger projects by requiring a consolidated PIP up front.
Well, that scales with the price of Atlas too, right? And like how big our DAO is. So eventually, as our DAO grows, 5% will be able to facilitate larger projects without those extra hurdles. But it's kind of a self-correcting system where, as we're kind of in our infancy stage, it should be a little bit more challenging to get more money out when there's not a lot of money to go around, right?
It wouldn't be a crazy situation that Atlas recover X5, and that would mean $50,000 for a single ecosystem fund thing. It's just a matter also of timing. There's so many things, but this is part of Web3.
Okay.
I would agree, Lancer. It does make it a little more difficult, but also I'm fine with that. Like when you're talking about 20 grand, like it's okay that it's a little more difficult. So
I have a different perspective on that one.
Yeah, because it's not your money.
What do you mean?
You have to convince everyone.
There's only 200 grand in the ecosystem fund, you know what I mean? So we got to be careful with that.
20 grand of free money is it's nothing to sneeze at, and I personally want to make sure everything's on the up and up, and I guess it's my real world experience with these rental assistance program that we did. Like there was guidelines, and there's certain people that went through and did the work, and they were better off for it in their business because they were forced to answer questions, and they were forced to have justification for us investing the money in them, and it made them better business people. And the people who didn't do it, you know, that so be it. Like they didn't do the work. But that's a whole nother subject. We can wax semantics later. But
And
where are we leaving this one? We're waiting for the author. Is that where we're at?
yeah,
Signal and
we're
Drum,
gonna
or
get updates that make it compliant and understandable from the first view in the voting page, and after that we can give it a couple days for the community to catch up and announce the changes, and then go for voting if there's no major outcry.
okay. And the goal would be to do that in short order in the next
Within the
Ideally,
next
midweek,
24
maybe.
hours, you should probably see those edits.
Okay,
It's not a major edit, so it should be super
Perfect.
fast.
yeah, it's
Awesome.
weekend, so I imagine they're not going to happen until at least Monday on the governance page, and after that, I think we should give the community 1 or 2 days before the voting just to catch up and explain the whole situation, because it was a little weird.
It might be Tuesday
good.
because Monday's a holiday. I don't know if the team is off.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
But it's easy. It's an easy fix, and we already, it's just a matter of a couple of days, and then we're back.
Sounds good. I think we can move on then. So that comes to yours, Lanzer. What do you got for us?
I'll bump up the business case first. So when we met some time ago internally, I said that what I saw was a bunch of a number of small holes in the leaky ship that I wanted to plug, and that I put together a business case. One of which is occurring right now, which is the ecosystem fund. The verbiage in that was confusing and led to different interpretations, which I don't think was helping us by letting that be there. So I'm about a third of the way through that whole both business cases, and it's basically a kind of cross reference between what the pip says and the confusion that it generates, and then I think what we need is a governance pip to either replace or clarify the language in pips 4 and 10. One of
An
which
amendment should be an easy task.
Okay. Well, I'm pulling together the verbiage of what I think is conflicting. In PIP 4, it's a 2 we already mentioned, and then also the calculation for what it actually is. I think it needs to be in there. It shouldn't be a mystery to calculate what the 5% is. And then
That's going to change quarterly, though.
whatever it is, it needs to not be a mystery. And right now, it doesn't clarify what it is at all. I mentioned 500,000, and then later on, like I can't even
Is there a
tell.
wallet for the ecosystem fund where they separate that atlas? The original 200,000 is separated, or is it all just virtually separated?
I don't know.
Because
I
if they
can't.
could provide that wallet address in there, that would help, right? We would be able to see those.
No, the wallet is there. You have all that
Is it-
information in Treasury.
Does the ecosystem fund have its own wallet separate
Yes.
from the DAO?
Yes.
Oh,
It's in the
yeah.
Treasury. Yes.
So then we'll be able to.
Right now, it has 158 million atlas.
And it started with 200 million.
That's what
so
we're listening. I'm not completely sure of that.
That's the part I'm
specify
talking
the
about.
amount.
That
We
not
wouldn't be able
completely
to
sure is the confusion I'm talking about.
I agree.
We wouldn't be able to specify that amount in the PIP because, like
Not
Drum
only-
said, it's gonna fluctuate quarterly how much is actually going in. But as long as the address is there, then all the information is available as accurately as you could get it. I mean, we could we could, put the quarterly amounts on like the knowledge base, for example, or
I think all of this is exactly what he's talking about. We'll just like
Yes.
clarify, just get some initial clarification and move on.
I
Like
think
not
those are that
not
should be
super
included into
complicated.
that. It should be included into that page at the treasury page. To be clear, that way everything is there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Current 5% ecosystem is boom this, and then when it gets replenished, if that changes, that updates there, and then it's clear. I agree.
Yeah. All right, and the bigger question was that I've been trying to solve for is I keep hearing different stories on whether or not every single pip in the DAO is under the jurisdiction of the ecosystem fund, or if people can submit pips outside of the ecosystem fund and they're not held to the 5% cap.
They can, but we cannot approve them. They have to have a separate conversation. So it's outside of our process.
What do you mean we can't approve them?
Because we have been limited to the ecosystem fund.
Like
So we as the we as the council can move stuff to Glenn and to the foundation really quick, versus I think there would just be an extra step if somebody or requested more money than the ecosystem fund. Then we'd have to get the Autonoma involved before it went to Glenn and the foundation. Would that be a correct synopsis?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, help me out. Point to me where Automata would get involved in this process.
In the
So
conversations that we've had with Swags and Autonoma and everything. It's not written down anywhere.
Yeah, it's the answers we've gotten from the foundation in the past several times, from Wagner and Dan.
Yeah, but it's not clear. That's what I'm trying to say. It's very
not written
unclear.
down.
I think
Would it be
everyone agrees
between-
with you.
Okay,
would
all
it
right,
be
gotcha.
between 2 and 3,
All right.
or
I think literally everyone is saying they agree it's not clear and that we should get some clarity on it. I think
Oh, okay.
I think you're on a side of an argument that everyone's already agreeing with you.
Oh, all right. I missed that. Okay, so my business case is going to draw that out, and that's what I'll submit as part of the clarity that I think is needed.
Just wanted to get that log jam out of the way.
Yeah, thank you.
I think you already
Thank you.
have. I think you already have agreement from everyone that it's not clear.
Okay, and the second one was the governance thing. So pips 2 and 10, I believe it is. I'll give you a second. So the Star Atlas DAO Council pip
3 and 10.
3 and 10, right? 3 and 10 is not consistent with our daily duties. And part of the business case will also call for a pip that clarifies that and makes it clear what our role really is versus what the pip describes.
Can you give us an example? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, that we're limited only to kind of stewarding the pip process. That pips 3 and 10 describe more than that. And it
Like
shouldn't
moderating
describe that
stuff?
as part of our duties if we're not doing them and if we're not allowed to do them.
I'd love to see the
Correct me.
proposal. I think it's a cool
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because otherwise you would not have had a Lancer come in thinking he could do all this stuff and then find out that that's not really how it works on the inside.
Yeah.
And I'm far from being the only person you're going to encounter like this for anyone who reads pips 1 through 3 and 10.
I like it. Do you
Cool.
actually have like a proposal or framework laid out yet?
Yeah, I connected all the language that conflicts with each other. The only thing I haven't done yet is propose a new language, which I think it's just kind of removing it since it doesn't seem to be within our wheelhouse.
No,
But that's
I just
the
mean
part.
like, is there like do you have like a document or anything
Yeah,
built?
I have a Google Doc.
Oh, nice, cool.
Yeah, that's what I did when I was traveling is just start hammering away, looking at phrases that didn't seem to go together. And it's all good if that's not in our wheelhouse. It just needs to be clear from the PIP so that candidates don't get the wrong impression.
Yeah, no, perfect.
Cool. Yep, that'll make me happy. All right, I'm good
Sure.
for the business cases.
Did you want to
And
go over the
before.
Yeah, scope of responsibility. I feel like we did you all go over this since we last talked about it like 4 weeks ago?
No, we
Click on
didn't.
it.
And this left side was just me trying to summarize what you were asking to make it clear, at least for us, and to get together and go back to the foundation or automata if we need to clear things out and incorporate it into the knowledge base to kind of clear all that murky area that there's too many of them.
Okay. Yeah.
That
So
we know the answers, but the answers are not anywhere to be read and are sometimes in conflict with language of pips. So yeah, I
yeah.
agree. I agree
Okay.
with you.
Yeah, it makes sense. So then let's hammer out the right hand side then.
So
We
we are pretty much in a good motion now with the right side. I haven't updated any of that from the first day that I proposed that, but if you want, we can go through it. And then the left side is something that we have to work together.
Yeah, all I'm looking for here is to make the right side consistent with our org chart, where we had our own kind of summary. Like I'm the presiding officer now, which sure, I think that actually makes sense after I Googled it again. And Emperor is the council chair. Drum, you're the secretary. Bodhi's the treasurer, and Signal is our lovely public relations.
So basically, I look for the corporate descriptions of what we're actually doing,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, and pick those just to because it was better than what we had before.
Okay. Yeah, presiding officer for me, which is basically running the meetings and make sure we stay on target for agenda and everything. I love that. I think that's great. Council chair, what was meant is that?
That's the person that is in charge of processes and rules and stuff like that, which is something that Emperor wants to work on, and standardizations and rubrics and stuff like that.
So where on this list was Emperor doing that? The pip structure and standardization manager?
Yeah,
Okay.
I found better names for all this stuff. This
Okay.
was the first time I had the idea, and then I went and you know
Okay.
spent a little while in Google, and then I became an expert in boards.
Oh, I got you. Okay. So now that we've got a number of weeks under our belt, I seem to be doing. I think I'm sliding into the markdown portion. Emperor,
Yeah.
are you still working on standardization rubrics and tools?
It's definitely on the list in addition to everything else, but yes.
Yeah, and community tools, I meant the dashboard and all that stuff.
Okay. Gotcha. And Discord structures all of us, although it seems to be like Carlos and Bodhi right now.
Yeah,
Pip,
Change with the one.
I'm normally on top of keeping the right places for discussion with the pips, the ideas, the vote, the right markers that it's in voting or will begin soon or it was approved, or so all that kind of housekeeping I'm on top of.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of the internal council forums and
Right.
like translating them over into the review thread. Okay, now that makes sense. Maybe I'll
You know
just
what we
keep
didn't
it
do?
all.
We didn't start the meeting on Discord, I don't think.
Oh. Okay.
Damn it. I've been doing
Pip
that every week. Oh,
Pip
I started
treasurer?
it. So
Yeah, I think it's definitely Bodhi. For sure.
Yeah.
What about Pip preparation? What is that duty? Is that the markdown?
No, I don't remember what I meant.
convert pip to markdown, communicates with Automata Foundation and other requirements for pips to achieve voting stage. That's what you wrote down.
Yeah.
For pip preparation and voting manager. It's down. It's the very last one.
Oh, okay. I think now, Carlos, you and I are sharing that duty. Yeah.
So you're doing the markdowns, and then he's definitely communicating with Autonoma, the foundation, and like
And other
he's more the
requirements.
back end. Yeah, like Xenor and all that to get stuff actually up there
Yeah, okay.
in the other.
And then I think what I'm starting to do, at least I did for the past few, only because Signal needed when you asked me that one time some weeks ago, and I created the accounts forums. When we've cleared step 3, I think it was, post finish thread. Yeah, when we cleared step 3 to step 4A, I've been creating the thread in the council forums, Carlos. Is that
Nice.
something that you want me to continue? Does it matter
Yeah,
to you?
No, whatever you feel comfortable doing, go for
Okay.
it.
Okay, cool. Then I'll share that role with you, and then I'll raise my hand if I because the part that confuses me still is when to do it, and
And when we are coming up with these positions, doesn't mean that we cannot help everyone and we cannot do everything, all of us. It's just it's easier, if someone starts managing one section, like for example, Signal might have an idea of the timing of certain messages, and then if someone just randomly start posting stuff, then we're sabotaging each other. So that was
yeah.
the thought behind it.
Okay. Okay, I think that makes sense. And then DAO interoperability partnership, I am still doing that, and it's gonna be a longer play for me, like my long-term stuff.
Sounds good.
And what do we got? Signal is just banging it out, man, with the public relations. Holy smokes. Dude, you
Oh,
are
and
crushing it.
there's been one repeating petition online about publishing also some kind of summary of what we're doing. Like, I know we share the minutes, I know we share these recordings, but some people just want to come and read an announcement and be up to date. So I was thinking that Emperor could help us with that, just summarizing the minutes and putting something too long to read for the people out that is something that he's been talking about for a few weeks.
Yeah,
Even if it's not
Wanna
AI, even if it's not an AI conversation, just a simple announcement could make wonders.
Okay.
Yep. And
Emperor, you're
that's
gonna do that?
why that was one of my action items here, if we get to it. But yeah, we can I wanted to kind of make sure that was fine with everyone, and I wanted to see how everyone thought we should do it, whether it's a video or voice, like that podcast thing, or just text or what. But yeah, I'm happy to take that torch.
If you can
Okay.
do the podcast thing, that sounds awesome.
I think so, but I know it annoys the shit out of certain people, but not to name names. Drum.
Everything annoys the shit out of somebody. You
I
go
would
out
love to
there and
take
you
that on.
look hard enough, somebody gets really pissed off by ice cream sundaes and puppies. I mean, it's
You know what? The only ones I care about are you guys. Oh,
Aww.
Well, I was going fucking nuts listening to those two AI voices talking for 15 minutes on the last example you posted. I was about to
I know.
kill one of them.
Hey, in the customization prompt, you can tell it to stay under 5.
Yeah, I think that
I
would
know.
be a lot better.
Yeah, cool.
I'm gonna make it 15 minutes just to annoy you, Drum.
I won't be the only one annoyed, so you carry on with that.
All right, I think I'm good
I
on
love how you
this.
guys immediately nominate, like Drum literally immediately nominates Emp for it, and then simultaneously goes like, "I fucking hated that update that you did," and I'm not the only one who will be annoyed by
Yeah.
it.
All right, I think I'm good on the right-hand side now, and on the left-hand side, I think it'll align with the business case that I'm going to put together,
Okay.
so we can
Yeah.
move on from here. Okay, what's next? Oh, we're at our hour-long mark. I don't see anyone except for
We're gonna keep
ICN.
going.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, we're just gonna keep going for another 15 minutes if everyone's okay with that.
Yeah. Okay. What's up next?
Apparently everyone's at the lake.
Yeah. They're all at the Finger Lakes.
We can probably, Bodhi, do you need to go over your SOP right now, or do you just want to do that? Is there anything pressing you need from us?
I don't think that should be done publicly.
Okay. I think
Because
he's
the back
he's muted.
mostly.
Okay. So he's
Oh, thank
creating
you.
that. Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I wanted to the SOPs isn't as critical to do right now, but I did want to get the landing page done so that we can start bringing the author. There was another approved PIP, and we need to get Theo in there as well, because I don't want to be DMing him the foundation email and be like, yeah, trust me, bro, send your ID over here. So I did want to get the landing page done. I can send
And
my draft to this chat, or if Lancer wants to look at the page, there's nothing on there that's sensitive. However you guys want to do it.
The email is there, no?
The email is not there.
Okay,
because we don't want
Um,
enter email.
Bodhi, what did you drop my name for?
to.
Just because you're streaming, I didn't know if you wanted to go to the ecosystem or the PIP disbursements page that I'm talking about, or if you wanted me to just post.
Screenshot it.
Yeah, go ahead and screenshot it.
Okay, well, I can post it right here.
Sure.
It's kind of long, but this is basically the.
Oh, yeah. This is what I was reading in your other channel. Okay.
Yeah, so this is basically when we assign the role to the PIP author that gets passed, the person that we're going to be sending the payments to. We're going to they're going to see this as the initial message. And then from there they'll be able to go into like a private chat within this channel. So I just wanted to make sure it's got at least, all the pertinent information. We can edit it later as time goes on. But I just wanted to get it to a point where we can start sending people in there.
Nice.
I
Who
didn't
just
see
posted that?
anything wrong with it.
Yeah, I'm reading
Yeah,
through.
he put it yesterday at 11. I don't know. My only thing was like, do we put the foundation email in here?
It
I'm
will.
assuming
No,
we
Yeah.
do.
It will. That's actually the main reason for this page, is to have that email address in there. We don't want to, expose it to everyone. That way the foundation's not getting like spam emailed from some troll.
Right.
But yeah, we need the whole reason we needed this channel is I didn't want to be DMing the
Yeah.
recipients with that email and be like, yeah, send your KYC to this email address.
That's smart.
Right. So
Smart.
this PIP disbursements channel will be invite
Mhm.
only. And so they'll come here and then we'll take them out of the PIP disbursements channel once it's done.
No,
So-
they get a role that gives them access to this area, and once they are in this area, they cannot write, but we will open a private thread with them, and then they will be
Right, but
communicating with us, and that way they don't see each other's threads because they're private.
No. Yeah, I get it. But will they forever be in this PIP disbursements channel?
Until we finish the payments.
Then they will lose the role.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that
So
part
they're just-
part is honestly inconsequential. If it's up to, we're not able to change the roles. So there's a couple different options. The way it is right now, there's a role that gives them access to this channel. And then we as council can create the private thread. So basically the way we work is the community team, like Santi or someone in that team, would be able to assign the role. We would tell them, hey, we want this person to get the role, and then they would get in there, and then we could tag them within the private thread, and that would bring them in. And then
Right.
whether they want to remove that tag is up to the community team. It wouldn't really matter because they're only going to have access to their own private thread. The way I have it written right now. Go ahead.
My only concern was the email address. Like they come and then they go, and that's great. But if they're able to be in here forever, regardless of the private thread, I get the private. That makes absolute sense.
But they
I
will
just didn't
have it
know,
the first time they join.
Right. But once they're in, they do their thing, and then they're out, and then great. I think it
would be healthy to remove the role.
Forever.
It would be healthy to remove the role once they're done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah,
That was my only concern. So
Odie,
I didn't
I'm
see
good to go on
anything else
this.
in there personally. Did anyone else see anything in there? Or?
No.
That was the only thing
he's got both my thumbs up on this one.
No, it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I
agree.
I guess I was asking the rest of them, but yep.
Over time, if you guys get a chance to check out the SOPs and give any feedback on that, it's possible that some of the information from over there might it might be beneficial to add that here, because it's a little bit more in depth the way that we go about. Like, this is just for the authors, whereas the SOPs is for us, and there's a little bit more details there that, like I said, might be beneficial to add here.
What SOPs
So if
were?
you guys get a chance. That page is a little longer. It's in our council drive. I can
Oh, the
post it
Google Drive?
here. It's in the Google Drive. I don't know if you
Oh,
can.
okay. I got you. Yeah, I can go look at that. That's no problem.
Yeah, the other document that he made earlier this week that he
Got
shared
it.
with all of us. Yes.
All right, Bodie, look at you, man. Right on.
Hey Hunter, can you mute yourself?
Man, Bodie, you're crushing it with those SOPs.
Yeah, man. Great job.
It's the same one, but yes, he's doing great. I think it's awesome.
Right on.
It's a little bit more involved than I've got a couple years of experience. Like, just do it, like all the stuff that I have in there, I do habitually. But to actually write it down for like future council members and like explain step by step, like this is how you make sure that there's zero problems, when it comes to payments, it's actually more difficult than I expected. It's like
Yeah.
trying to tell somebody how to put a shirt on, It's like, how do you explain it?
Yeah. Okay, what else? Emperor, there's a couple for you.
Well, we already talked about the one.
We did?
The
Oh, the
Yeah,
TLDR?
we just talked about it. Yeah, we just talked about it right before his when we were talking about the scope of responsibility slide.
Yeah, they said that
So
you
when
would
we
do
went
the
over
TLDR
that,
and
right? So
maybe
we went
the
over numbers.
He got voluntold.
okay, and you're going to do a
We
Notebook LM podcast out of it?
I think you guys agreed that I can figure it out and do whatever the hell I want, but
Yeah.
Yes.
that you
Okay.
guys were okay.
I gotcha.
That's what I
Yeah.
mean. We talked about it.
You've
All right,
got the
cool.
Literally
Homelander
just went over it.
directive. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
I didn't write it down,
Right.
so it didn't go in my brain. But now I will write it down. Agreed that Emperor can do whatever
WTF.
do whatever the F he wants.
Perfect.
I mean, his name's literally Emperor. The only step up you can do from King is Emperor. Just gonna say.
That is the highest. I have
And you're gonna
gotten this argument.
Are you gonna send it over to Signal to post, or how is you gonna post it?
I'm not sure. I'll probably just end up posting it on my own because when I was a part of a different guild, I would do a weekly treasury update and I would just post it.
If you
as
need
the treasurer.
instructions on how to use emojis and these other things that kids do these days, let us know.
Shut
Right,
up,
if you need any advice on how to sound like a pot smoking degenerate cryptomaniac, then I'm around. But I think you'll be all right without it.
No, lame is fine too.
I'll mess it up a time or two. So yeah. So then the only other thing, I don't even think there's anyone in here again. Okay. The only other thing that that led me into my next deal. So the action item and minutes format. I think we'll end up tweaking them a little bit, just so it's easier. Maybe not easier, but I don't know. I probably shouldn't have put it on here. I'll probably, when I'm working on the TLDR, I'll figure out what I was meaning by that. When we run our downtown meetings, it's ran a little bit different. And if I'm doing the TLDR, it might be a little more helpful in a different format, but I'm not sure. But that's just we can just delete that. It's good enough for today.
Wait, are you talking about adjusting these meeting minutes?
Yeah, just kind of like I was going to share in our private chat some of my the minutes and the subcommittee updates and some of that we do with with the downtown organization. It works. If I'm doing the TLDR, it works a freckle better. It's nothing major. It's just some formatting stuff maybe, but I was going to share it because it has some private names and stuff in it from our downtown organization, but it was just something that was on my mind.
So
Are you gonna share it?
you're
No, not publicly because it has some like private names on it.
so you're
Boo.
looking
It's like
to
literally
you're
make it
looking
easier
to
for myself to do the
okay, I think
TLDR.
I'm a little bit lost. So you're looking to change the format of this slide?
No, he's gonna do
I
a too
don't
long
know.
to read, and he wants to show us something that he uses with his real life board
Oh,
to see if we like
So
it.
like, yeah, it's just some little. It's nothing major. I shouldn't put it on there. I'm going to strike it, even though we started talking about it.
okay. And
So
the
what
action
we're
items?
trying is what we're trying is
Done.
to use the information in this slide and make something a little more slender and quicker for people to read or hear or listen to. That's
Right.
basically it.
Yeah, that, and then I'm going to try to figure out how to do a TLDR from the actual video. I don't think VB, no, he's not in here anymore, but I might pick his brain or somebody else's brain on some of that stuff too. But yep.
Okay.
So I deleted it. We're good.
And the action items are going to stay the same, or they're changing too?
No, nothing is changing here
No.
from your slides. This is
Oh.
just some announcements he wants to do to keep people updated and engaged. That's all.
Don't touch my slides.
Yeah, exactly. It's like don't touch my records that Prince says in the songs. The same.
I'm all good with it. I wasn't sure what the full scope of. It
No,
sounds like
he's
you
gonna
wanted
use the
to do stuff.
information on this slide and make something friendlier for people to read quickly. That's it.
Friendlier. Oh man.
Yeah.
Hurts my heart. This is pretty friendly, I thought.
Well, this is very bullet pointed, which
Yeah.
works great for what we're doing for taking notes. But for someone
All
to
right.
have a quick read is a little harder.
All right. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, it's definitely it's got a learning curve to it for sure. I mean, we're 6 weeks in, and we tried to run it last week without you, and it went okay. But you've been so ingrained in it, and you created it, and it's
We're
very
lost without
very
you,
handy.
Lancer.
Well, let me put it
That's
this
what
way.
Ed wants you to know.
If this thing was not doable for you all while I'm not here, I failed, and we should improve it.
Lancer, without you, we're not the peanut butter, we're not the jelly, we're just the bread, man. You know what I mean?
Oh, thank
We
you
need a
for
presiding
flattering
officer.
my ego. Okay. All right. Well, that hurts my heart a little bit, but if that's the truth, then that's the truth.
It's just it's like we couldn't. I don't want to say we couldn't figure it out. We stumbled through it and we made it work, but it is a little
Okay.
clunky. A little
Well,
bit.
it
So
seemed like you all did it because I was able to read last week, and I was just going through this right here that you all did. And
Yeah, we tried. I
okay.
think we did a decent job.
Yeah. So all it is in the
we did
top
okay.
left, and the top left is just when you start, when you end, who attended. And right now we have 6 live viewers on X right now on my broadcast. So I just put that number there. And then when I upload it later, the link goes here. Oops, I forgot to
No, we get
upload.
it. We get it.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just not a big deal.
Not a big deal. Okay.
Nope, it's all good.
Oh,
and
guys.
I see Bohemian. Who summoned Bohemian?
All right,
I know
then
who summoned Bohemian.
if that's it, then that's all of our agenda items, and I've got to go in a few minutes.
I think we're good.
Bohemian's here.
Yeah.
The party starts.
Yeah, my bat
are we
signal worked. What's up, man?
We shall henceforth now move over to office hours, yeah?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right.
now that we're done with the meeting, who's gonna signal? Do you want somebody to take this, save this as a JPEG so you can post the meeting minutes, or do you just want me to do the TLDR?
Either one works for me, brother.
Cool.
Who's been saving this as a JPEG? Has that been you and then sending it to him, Lancer?
Yeah, I've just been saving it off of this and then posting it in. Anybody could do it, but I just been doing it because I'm in it right now. I can save it again. It's no
Yeah,
problem.
I don't even know how the hell to do that.
Oh, it's up here. You can see my screen, right?
Told you he was a grandpa, and you guys didn't believe me.
Up here on the left, you'd see you click File,
on.
and then under
Okay.
Download.
File download.
And then there's JPEG, ping, all bunch of stuff. I normally do JPEGs
Oh.
because it's faster, but whenever you want a high quality image, you want ping. PNG.
Okay. So yeah, now we're done.
Good to go?
Is Bohemian still here?
He sure is.
Bohemia mi gente.
Bohemian, I want you to know something, and I really want you to just soak it into your bones and understand it. We came here today entirely off of the pretense that just maybe you would show up. That's the whole reason we did this. So now that you're here, you really got to talk.
Yeah, you have to mute Bohemian. Sorry.
It's really
Do
important.
we have him muted? Is he muted? No, he's not muted.
No,
He's just lazy.
he does this to us all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, he
He's
talks
just a
in
big-
our meetings.
He's a big tease.
It's
Give you a
J-Lo.
minute. Okay.
He's all about the governance, and then he comes to our meetings and ignores us.
I got to drop.
Every time.
I will keep monitoring the chat, and I think the next thing up for us to do then is there a pip coming up I need to be watching for?
No, we need to go back to work to the other two pieces we have pending.
Oh, okay. So then, is he going to post his updates to his draft?
That's the ideal scenario.
Okay, so then I'll just keep monitoring that, and then when I see a change, then I'll change the markdown and re-upload.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
I'll
Rock
let
on.
you guys know. It'll probably be within 24 hours.
Okay.
Raspy's aware, that he's got to make a small edit, so
Okay.
it shouldn't take too long.
All right, I'll check in about 24 hours then, and then make the markdown and tag you, Carlos.
Nice.
All right.
Cool.
Rock
See you,
on.
Lancer.
See y'all.
See ya.
Bohemian says he's going to hang out with us. Take care, Lancer.
See you, Signal. Bye, Emperor.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.